Welcome to the Past Present Feature Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Valerian Projectors, featuring the Valerian Vision Master Pro 2, a filmmaker and film lover's dream. This outstanding 4K HDR tri-laser projector boasts 3000 ISO lumens, Rec 2020 color, and an impressive 15,000 to 1 contrast ratio. That gives you those deep, rich blacks in every frame. That's what I as a filmmaker care about the most. With IMAX and Dolby Vision compatibility, Google OS, Active 3D, Filmmaker mode, the list of impressive specs is endless. It delivers an exceptional cinematic experience when viewing the films of our podcast guests. Head over to Valerian.com to get yours today. That's VALERION.com. Natesh Hegde discusses his journey in filmmaking, from his early inspirations to the challenges and triumphs of creating his latest film, Tiger's Pond, which just world premiered at the Berlin Film Festival. Past inspiration includes Iranian filmmaker Abbas Kiarostami's 1990 film, Close Up. Natesh shares insights on collaborating with family, including casting his father in the lead acting role, the importance of sound design, and the unique experience of shooting on 16mm film. He emphasizes the courage to create without fear of failure and offers advice to aspiring filmmakers to simply keep making films. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. And congrats on the Berlinale. You're world premiering, yeah?
Yeah.
Have you screened at Berlinale before?
No, it's first time.
So you're very excited?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's a big festival. I mean, not that we need to like talk about hierarchies, but it's top 3, top 5 in the world?
Yeah.
When you got the acceptance, what did that feel like? How did that come in?
So, yeah, we were in the shortlist for a couple of months. Like, we were anticipating it. But again, like, it was relief.
Yeah, you were. How did you celebrate? I mean, or did you celebrate?
Yeah, nothing much like.
You didn't get the other 9 families together in the village and do a little shindig?
No. So, my father also acted in my film. He's an electrician, yeah, by profession. But he acted in my debut film also, and he's in this film as well.
Okay, what's your dad's name?
His name is Gopal Hegde.
Got you. And he's like the protagonist. He's like the lead in your film?
Yeah, he's one of the lead.
Amazing. Well, that's a great thing to start with then. What is it like working with your dad who acted in your film? Tell me about that.
It's fun, like, now he has to, take my orders. It was fun.
Nice. Is there any pushback from him? Does he back talk? You got to put him in timeout?
No, he enjoyed it.
That's so cool. There's been a few of these interviews where there's father-son collaborations. And my son also is nothing new to anybody listening to this podcast, but my son has also shown extreme interest in filmmaking. And we've been making films too. So I'm sure he'll be bossing me around in like 3 years. Can't wait for that. Let's start in chronological order, if you don't mind. What was your first memory of being a filmmaker? And when did you know you wanted to be one?
Oh, so it's like while I read that interview, I didn't know, but in retrospect, I can tell. So I read an article about Abbas Kiarostami, his film Close Up. So there was the brief synopsis of it. The actual case and, arrest of the guy called Sabzian and how Abbas Kiarostami documented it. And there was this very bad quality of YouTube link. So I watched that film in YouTube, very bad print. So that made me realize like, oh, this can also be a film. Suddenly I realized I have some stories also. Like my life also can be a film.
Pause real quick if you don't mind, because this helps to take care of another question that I had too, as far as your big past inspiration, not just for your current film, but for just yourself as a filmmaker. Abbas Kiarostami's Close Up, 1990. and it's about the true story of Hassan Sabzian, a cinephile who impersonated the director of Mohsen to convince a family they would star in his so-called new film. I mean, come on. Look, a lot of people love Abbas on this podcast, too. He's come up quite a bit. Abbas Kiarostami was an Iranian film director, screenwriter, poet, photographer, and film producer. An active filmmaker from 1970, Kiarostami had been involved in the production of over 40 films, including shorts and documentaries. From Tehran, Iran. Died in Paris, France. Won the Palme d'Or Grand Jury Prize. What is it about this film? Let's just take a minute to talk about Close Up, if you don't mind. Like, besides the fact that it gave you a fresh perspective on how and what you can make a film about, tell me more. What else did this film do for you?
There are many shots. Like I can recall. The very famous shot of the protagonist kicking a empty can on the road, and it rolls. So that shot, till then we were thinking like we have to tell something, or we have to communicate something, or story should progress. But at that moment, it was like it's a halt for the story, and you're just observing life have unfolding. So that particular moment was like it was like a shock.
Is there any Kiarostami influences that have made their way into your films?
Not really. Like I consciously avoid that because I'm making films from my imagination and my life experience. They inspire me to make films. I know think about this medium, but not necessarily I copy something.
And what would you say your style of film, or what is your tone, style, brand of filmmaking, your own personal brand?
That's also I'm not consciously trying to do. I just want to be honest, and whatever my thinking about the medium at that particular point, I just want to practice that and reflect that. Maybe after some films, 5 6 films, I, I realize what is my style is.
I love that. You never studied filmmaking formally, but writing was your escape from reality. I'm reading here in this article from platformmag.com. You finished graduation in a town nearby, village called Circe, graduated in science, and later pursued journalism. Talk about that, your formative years, talk about, being in, going to school for what you went to school for, and then how did that kind of transition into filmmaking for you?
But I never studied filmmaking, but it was there. Like from 12th or something, I had this in my mind. Like I have to tell stories. That was a kind of urge. So I used to start writing short stories, and suddenly I felt like this medium is not enough for me. Like my stories started becoming like instructions, like screenplays. There was description about sound, and and then I realized I need different medium to tell the story. So it was a gradual shift towards filmmaking.
What was like your first film that you made?
I made a short film, set in my village. Yeah, I casted my father. I also acted in that. It was a black and white short film called Crab. So that was my first shot, and then I made another shot, and then I made my first feature.
Got you. And then you were off, and then all of a sudden you were just bam. Were there any challenges that you faced? I mean, was there any kind of like roadblocks that you hit? Talk about like some struggles that you've been through as a filmmaker, if there are any, and how they helped you along your journey. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I don't know. I really don't think I faced any struggle. I don't see like trying to get money for the film is a struggle, or whatever to make the film. I don't consider that as a struggle. A struggle for me is like to stick on to your way of making films and your approach, not get deviated by other factors. Like after making one or two film, you realize like what works and how can you do all these
Yeah.
manipulations. But you have to stick on to your approach. That is the struggle, I think.
What is one of the more compelling memories you have while making a film? Something that sticks with you? Is there any moments that gave you some sort of like memorable moment? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the very first day of my film shoot, where my father was lying on the road, and the whole village was watching that shot, and it was very humiliating for him also, for me also. Like I could see tear in his eyes, and slowly went to him and said, like, see, we have chosen to create some art, then we have to face this. And at that moment, it was so heartening for both of us. Like, we decided to do whatever to make this film. So it was so healing thing for us.
It sounds like it's almost like the most challenging or the most trying moment for you and your dad, but also the most rewarding. It seems like it's like hits both of those. That's so cool. Do you guys have any? Are you going to continue to work with your dad in the future?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you just like, okay, I love this. This is so good. It's not just a one-off thing. It's like this is the thing that we're going to be doing here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You seem like a pretty practical guy who doesn't get too high or too low. I mean, I've known you for 12 minutes. That's a good way to be, right? I mean, would you say that's true?
Yeah, I believe that is true.
Where do you think that comes from? Where do you get that from? Because a lot of us aren't like that.
But I don't know, but maybe the life I have seen, or my surrounding teaches me that.
Just the slowness, the slow pace, the be in the moment kind of. Is that with something like this
Yeah,
or?
that's also, and also it was not very easy. Like, from my place to just imagining that I'll make a film, or I'll be an artist is not a easy thing. You already made got that courage, then you will be. Yeah, everything else is not that difficult.
So you're saying you're the only filmmaker in town, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a monopoly on all the commercials of local business.
No, not really. But we have very strong industry, which is located in Bangalore, Kannada film industry. As you know, like, India produces
Oh yeah,
a lot of films.
we had Nikhil Bhatt. I had Nikhil Bhatt on. He did Kill, that film Kill.
Oh yeah.
He was super cool. Loved him. I am from a small town, like I told you. Nothing as small as yours. Yours sounds like an intersection, but still small. And making films for a living was not something that people took seriously. You know what I mean, or thought about doing. So I can imagine maybe more easily than most what it was like to say fuck it anyways and go for it, even when there was no path or there was nobody there to kind of help beyond my parents, support. So it does make other things seem less trivial,
Yeah.
right? If you can make films from a place of limited resources and a limited support or limited paths, whatever, then once you make that, it does make other things seem much easier.
Or just to gather the courage to start something, not making a film.
That's a good topic. I feel like to gather the courage to just start something and make something, because that seems to be the deciding factor between many people either having something or nothing at all, whether it be careers, film, whatever. It's like this: people have fear of failure. I've never understood this concept, fear of failure. Apparently, it's a thing. I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but I just don't. I've never had that concern. Where it's like, the only fear I have is to not try, to waste my time and not try. To fear failure is silly to me. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
people kind of can hesitate or whatever. And it's always good to just kind of like go for it, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, like, otherwise, like, by just thinking, or anyway, you're failing.
Yeah. What do you think, if you can go back in that moment, whenever you have an idea for a project or something like that, a project, a script, a film, what makes you kind of pull the trigger? Is there a moment, like a decision point, or is there no decision point at all? You just roll with it. You just go. Do you not
I,
stop and think?
I just go, like, I have my team, or, the very close people. But, whenever I think of a story, I get very clear opinion about that. So far, no one questioned.
You just take action.
Yeah, we start.
Yeah. Because why make things harder, right? Human beings love making things more difficult than they need to be. That is a fact.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. Okay, moving on to your film and less about life philosophies. So your film, I'm going to try to pronounce this. I know it translates into Tiger's Pond, right, in
Yeah,
English?
Tiger Spawn.
But the film is called Bagachipani. And it is I'm just going to read a little bit of the synopsis on the Berlinale page here. The idyllic landscape conceals a fallen world under the sway of the tiger god. The circular lord of this domain, however, is Prabhu, a ruthless businessman trying to win a local election with the help of his faithful right-hand man, an immigrant known as Malabari. When Basu, a politically savvy outcast worker, stands up to their intimidation tactics and ill-earned authority, the strict hierarchy and the feudal order of Prabhu's dominion threatens to come undone. Deepening the inquiry of his acclaimed debut feature Pedro in 2021, Natesh Hegde offers a sharp, simmering crime drama exploring the nefarious confluence of faith, caste, and political power in southern India. Set in a hermetic village ruled by fear and tradition, Hegde's film is a game of tigers and cows, a tale of structured oppression and spontaneous resistance around the figure of the mute maid Pati. The spectral camera drifts through this netherworld, registering its rocky terrain, its murky going-ons, and its unforgettable faces and rapturous 16mm imagery. As it unmasks the brutality beneath the serene beauty of the village, the still waters of Tiger's Pond begin to reveal their treacherous depths. Okay, 2 questions. First one, why this story? I know I can tell you're probably not a fan of breaking apart the whys and the, like analyzing too much like a David Lynch type, but I don't know. Why this story? Why do you feel the need to tell this story? Because making a movie is hard and long, and I think it's nice to at least self-analyze a little bit. I mean, why did you need to tell this film?
Yeah, like, there are, I saw an image of, a girl burnt in front of police, like, it happened somewhere in India. So that image stuck in my mind, like, whole system is witnessing that. That was the triggering point. Then I started writing this story.
And then the story just came in its own way through what just a mixture of maybe inspiration from real life, but mostly just imagination.
Yeah. Again, there was one short story in Kannada that also inspired me to write this script. It's by Amaresh Nugudoni. He wrote a short story called Dare Uridare. So that was also the beginning point for this film.
Gotcha. And then 16mm. Let's talk about that. I've never shot on 16. It's pretty special, huh? It's got its own distinct look, flavor. Yeah, what was that like?
So one, it's like it's in the texture of it, and the whole practice of making film in film stocks. It's little expensive, but still that practice is something else. Like I wanted to do that for my first film also, but I didn't had the courage. I don't know what people will say if I had approached with this idea of shooting it in 16 mm. But after first film, it got, it screened at some festivals, got awards. So I could ask for some more money, and this time we were very determined to shoot it in 16 mm. One is the practice of it, the precision of it, making film stock. And one more thing is I wanted very discarded look for this film. Like, it looks aesthetically beautiful also, but it is like something like we found this film from somewhere. That kind of imagery that was I was thinking.
It's got a little dirt on it,
Yeah.
kind of look like you found it behind a building somewhere. I mean, I've got one image to go on, and it's the image of the car, the Berlinale site. And it looks very much like that. And also with shooting on film, which I never have done except for Super 8 back when I was very young, you really do have to previs, right? You really do have to think about what you're going to do before you do it. You can't just, like digital, you can just roll kind of and just let it go and da-da-da and figure it out in post, which is not a good idea, right? I mean, film, you have to be conscious and communicate.
I really don't believe in this coverage shooting.
What
It's very
the medium
precise.
shot, the close up, and the wide shot, medium close turnarounds, da 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 da. Yeah,
I hate it. And one more thing, like when I write, I it's almost like how I imagining the film in my mind. So it is like it is always there. How what is the
Ah,
shot, and even
as you're
the
writing it, you're visualizing
yeah yeah,
the actual framing of what you're saying, what you're writing.
and also it includes edit also, like how we are constructing it. It's also there in the script.
You're saving a lot of time too in that approach. I feel like that's a great way to be, as opposed to trying to figure it out as you go, and like how that which really just means you're unsure about what your vision is, right? So you have a very clear vision. As you're writing it, you're seeing how it's going to be shot and edited, and you just go collect it at that point.
Yeah, it's not that like in the shoot we are just executing things. Yeah, but we are creating it there also, in edit also we are creating it, but we have little more clarity about what is the film and how it looks.
So you have a strong backbone, at least, but you're not like it's not concrete completely poured on it. You're still able to explore, I guess, throughout the process.
Yeah, yeah.
Production of this film. Production, like how long did you shoot for? And I guess what was like the most memorable moment from this shoot?
We shot for 30 days.
30?
Yeah, one straight schedule.
Just 5 days a week?
Yeah, everything is the memorable thing in film shoot. Like maybe in 3 years or 4 years we get to shoot a film. For that 30 days we are fully into it.
The whirlwind.
So, yeah.
Is there like a favorite moment that you can think of, or one of the not a competition between moments, but is there something that sticks out in your mind?
With this film, like we built a tiger statue, which was more than 100 kilo. It was 120 kilo, and
Mm-hmm.
we it's a like waterfall, and we our team like 7 8 people, we are tied this tiger idol to bamboo, and we are carrying it. So that moment is stuck in my mind.
Okay, yeah. I mean, was there any moments where like you filmed and you weren't quite sure if it was going to work out in the edit, and then it did better than you thought? Does it ever happen for you?
I think I never shot anything which I haven't used in the edit.
Really?
Yes.
Every single scene, every shot? Well, not every take, of
Like,
course.
yeah, every shot. Like
You've
nothing is.
used.
Yes, we have used.
Can you walk me through how you would film that? I know you said it's going to match like what you initially saw when you wrote it, but like when you're on the day about to film, about to roll the camera, how do you approach that? Like, do you just get one? You only see it as one shot, say in this moment where something's happening. You only see it this one way, and then you just collect it. You film it that one way.
Yeah, like first thing is like we arrive at the space. Like we visit the space multiple time to see the light and to just imagine the choreograph there, how character move there. So the space dictates like how we break it down, the shots. So in that way, like it's pretty clear that how scene is unfolding. In that way, like we have, if we are not using the whole scene, or otherwise we have to use everything.
Got you. So it's kind of a mix of what you have in your mind, the visual kind of exactness, with like blocking it out with the geography of the space.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you work with actors? Do you sometimes let them kind of move around in the space before you lock down how you want to shoot it, or how does that go?
Yeah, I give the complete freedom to them, and also it's with every actor it is different. So like someone, like you have to tell him more, or for someone you don't have to tell anything. You just have to brief the scene, and I write some dialogues on set, like I change whatever, like I'm I'm fully into the the practice, and then if something come to my mind and I write and I give it to them. So in that way it's very flexible.
Or sometimes it's just as simple as saying, "Dad, stand over there."
Yeah. So sometimes you don't have to explain a lot of things. Like it ruins the scene. You just have to tell him to look at you to your right and smile.
Sometimes good directing is, or just good anything, being efficient and productive. A
Yeah,
lot of times it involves not doing too much at all, right? Just not
yeah,
doing too much.
yeah. And it's always the director explains more, ruins the scene. You just have to, believe in the actor, and you have to believe in the cameraman and everyone. You just have to believe.
Now, was it tough to decide between cameramen and your 10-person village, 10 family village?
No, no, like the cameraman is from another part. No, not.
I figured. I was just trying to make a
Yeah.
terrible joke. Post production, then, like, so how did it just come together smoothly with no issues whatsoever, and boom, bam, bam, like you were done? Okay, here you go, Berlin.
No, not really. Like for editing, it always takes time. Like it's also like you're watching it, and slowly you build the film. Like how you build house, like brick by
Mm-hmm.
brick.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that process is something like I edit myself with Paresh Kamdar. He's my editor. He's a filmmaker. Like he's 60+ year old. So I work with him.
Can you talk about the value of working with an editor? Because I'm doing the same thing with my films, where I edit, but also I need some freshness. I need some like you get in the weeds, don't you? When it's your film and you've been directing, you wrote it and you've directed it and you've been producing it probably, and you've been doing all these things, and then you're also editing. But a lot of times you're just incapable of seeing the full possibilities, right? Would you
Yeah.
say is that the value for you, bringing on an editor that you actually can trust and like appreciate?
Yeah, he's initially like I do the first rough cut, and then we see together, and he comes to my house. Like we are talking about all things about the word, and we are editing also. We take breaks, and it is mutually we start getting the film.
What would he bring? What does he bring to the table that if he wasn't on board wouldn't be there?
Like his sense of like seeing the film in totality, that is something very special. Like it's not about cutting 5 frames here and there. That doesn't make any change. Like you have to see it in totality, and each time you see the film you have to be fresh and see it as if you are seeing it for first time.
Oh my God, I know what you mean. When you start having that sense of totality,
Yeah,
that's when you know your movie, right? You know what it's about, you know what it is. But until that moment, it's a little nerve wracking.
yeah.
It's like, what did I do? What do I have? What do I have here? I mean, it's so yeah. It's like that's such a huge collaboration. I used to only edit. I used to edit my movies by myself, and the first few. And I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have brought on somebody. But you live and you learn. No regrets, just lessons. Anything else in post production that is significant?
Sound is one thing which is very, very crucial. You can create very concrete word with the sound. With the image, you have only one layer, but with sound, it's infinite. Like you can do a lot of things, and also you can't put everything and ruin the film. So that balance is the key. So sound is also very, very crucial, and we take a lot of time.
Do you record? What's your process like in sound design? Do you record on set, and or do you also add in some Foley after the fact? How does it work for you?
We record on set, and over that, like if necessary, we add foley and design it. We record the ambient sound, and create layers.
But you're not pulling from an existing library per se. You're recording a lot of it just from original tracks.
We prefer recording.
Yeah, cool, nice. So the film is done. When did you finish this film? When did you actually color correct it? It's all locked up, ready to go. Was this very recent or what?
Yeah, very recent.
Does it feel like a sense of relief for you, or are you just kind of like, whatever?
No, it's definitely it's a relief. You have to forcefully stop working on the film.
How do you move on? Well, you haven't moved on yet because you haven't premiered it, of course. But you've made other films before this. Talk about the kind of weird thing that is whenever you're finally done with this movie, all this work that it took, and at the end of the day, it all ends in just on a little hard drive. all of your work on a little hard drive or a folder on your computer. Just talk about what that's like for you. Are you okay moving on? Is it just kind of like an easy thing for you, or does it take you a moment?
No, but we don't have any option other than moving on. Like, it's the rule of the game. But it's difficult. It's not that easy. But for me, like whenever I lock the edit, I start detaching myself from the film. You work on the film, you do all the things, and premiere, screening, this and that. But in back of your mind, you know that it's your work is done here, and
Yeah,
now
yeah.
it's you have to leave it.
Time for the next one.
Yeah.
So, how are you with premieres? Do you get very excited? Are you excited? Are you nervous, or do you just kind of keep a even keel, cool thing? I mean, some filmmakers get really sweaty and anxious when it comes to premiering a film. How are you?
No, I'm pretty much okay. Like I never felt that.
You are a chill dude,
Yeah.
just chilling.
You can do anything about it. Like, people like it or hate it, whatever it is. Like it's there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's a great way to look at it.
A strange thing is like, after my debut film, I watched it in a screening recently. I really felt like, did I made this film? Like, all the how you shoot it and everything you remember, but there's a strange feeling of, watching it as a viewer.
It's almost like it's not your film. Is that what you mean sometimes, where somebody else made it?
Yeah,
It's so weird. That happened to me recently. I was showing somebody this documentary that I did, and it was good. I was like, is this mine?
I would love to watch your films. Please send
Oh,
me.
thank you. We made this one film called Bellevue. It's the first feature doc that I made. It has such a great recipe of thing. Like, it's a very simple, practical film of like a great protagonist. It's a clear conflict. It's a little hero's journey. You know what I mean? There's nothing complicated about it, but it's just smooth. It's 77 minutes. It's nice and tight. Bellevue, like, this film where it's like, did I make this? And of course, it wasn't just me that made it. I had some help. I had a little bit of editing help and all this, but you do detach and then you circle back after you've long forgotten about the movie. And it's like, it is like that. It is like that. And it's always good whenever you're pleased with the viewing experience.
But I wonder, like all these filmmakers in the studio time, like Kurosawa or anyone, like making 100 films.
Mm-hmm.
I am sure they wouldn't to remember what is their 47th film. You know?
I always think about Hitchcock, like, didn't he make like
Yeah,
20 films before he made The Lodger, before he made like his like first big
yeah,
one?
yeah.
There's something so admirable about even what you mentioned early on, which is just doing it and
Yeah.
not thinking about it too much, truly. And I feel like I got to a point with my last film to where I just took it all off a pedestal. I had it too much, the filmmaking thing, I had it too much on a pedestal. I value every bit of it in my films, but also I'm not as precious with it all, meaning there's not as much of a pressurized kind of thing. Like, it doesn't matter as much. As long as I know I'm doing as much as I can do and satisfying my curiosities and my needs as a viewer, then I'll be okay. And it seems to work out, as opposed to trying to, I don't know, worry about how people are going to receive it or how they see you as a filmmaker or all this stuff. It's really just a waste of time for sure. I'm very excited for my latest doc. I should be getting the cut back tonight, actually. I've been filming it for 3 years. I've been editing it. And then I sent it to my good friend, good collaborator, who just cut it down from 2.5 hours to 95 minutes. It's about this private investigator I've been following around in LA. And it's
Oh,
funny. It's fun. It's fun. So
yeah.
when it's ready, I'll send it to you if you want to check it
Please,
out.
please send.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Okay, distribution. Do you already have distribution lined up? Do you have any potential distribution?
We have a sales agent, like Loco Films from Paris is handling it. Hopefully, yeah,
Gotcha.
in Berlin we'll get something.
And so, and Berlin is a great market too, right? It's one of those rare festivals where it's a great quality film festival, but it's also a film market, which
Yeah.
helps with sales. Yeah, you get into Berlin, you're going to have people saying, Probably in line a little bit, wanting to take your film, I would think. Crime films. I love crime films. This is a crime film. What is your approach to crime films when you create one? Is there anything specific, or do you just try not to be too structured or too formulaic? What is it for you?
I don't try to be very structured, but people are saying it's a crime film, but I don't approach it as a crime film. For me, it's a human story. It's a drama. There is an element of crime.
Okay. That's just something that they can kind of tag it with, I guess, and
Yeah,
categorize it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Sure. Got you. And then, okay, runtime, 87 minutes. Love that. What dictated that? Was it just that's what the story ended up being, was around that time length? Was it ever longer than that?
So, it was like as I told you, like we never had a scene which we haven't used. So this film was meant to be around 90 minutes. So that was what we imagined. But my thing was like the film shouldn't feel very short also
Right.
with this run time. It must have give that experience of seeing something.
And the thing about runtime is just a kind of a number, but like sometimes short movies can feel long as hell, and sometimes long movies can feel short. So I feel you on that. It just needs to be what it feels like it needs to be. Last question for you: what would you tell your younger filmmaking self if you could go back in time right now that you've learned so far? What would you tell your young filmmaking self?
Nothing, like just make films. Just keep on making films.
You heard it here first, folks. Just make films. Just keep it simple. This podcast is brought to you by Valerian Projectors. Head over to valerian.com to get yours today. That's VALERION.com. Please like and subscribe to this podcast and follow us on social media at Past Present Feature. And let us know in the comments section what movies you're watching. Thank you so much for listening to the Past Present Feature podcast, and we'll see you next time. Peace.